Time now for the Nick Hart Show, our weekly chat with the Gibson Southern Titans head football coach. The Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash is made possible by Matt Michael of AgriGold, Brett's Car Care, Chips Sell My Teas, Cox Family Eye Care PC, Daylight Land Management, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Duke Energy, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Gerald and Trudy Bledsoe, Hob Range Hood Company, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hydorn Construction, Hilliard Lions, Matt Monroe, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, Johnson Commercial Mowing, Julia's School of Dance, Kathy Solman Photography, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, Kissel Farms Incorporated, Lewis Plumbing and Heating, Make Your Mark, Mayflower Gardens and Gifts, MyTech Systems, Whole Concrete Construction, Pro Rehab, Progressive Health Rehabilitation and Orthopedic Associates, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating LLC, Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, South Gibson Grain, 10 Barge Seed, Trapping and Removal of Animal Pest, Titan Youth Football League, United Fidelity Bank, and by Ziliac Enterprises. Now, the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash.
Well, it's the first Tuesday night in September, which means it's now time for the Nick Hart Show. I am Bob Bowser, and joining me is head coach of the Gibson Southern Titans, Nick Hart. And Coach, your Titans are now 2-0 overall and 2-0 in the Pocket Athletic Conference after defeating South Spencer Friday night 48-7. So let's take a look at some of the team and individual statistics from that ball game the other night. Starting off with offense, huge disparity here. Your Gibson Southern Titans had 447 yards of offense versus South Spencer having 118 yards of offense, most of that coming in the second half. Rushing yards, South Spencer had 12. Your ball club had 145 rushing yards. Passing yards, South Spencer had 106, while your Titans amassed 302 yards through the air. Turnovers, again, is the key to the game here. 4 turnovers for South Spencer, the goose egg, 0 for your ball club, which is outstanding and where you want it to be regardless of the competition level.
Yeah, for sure. We're doing a great job of taking care of the ball. We did lay one on the turf and got it back. But I think our defense, and then this week you got to include the special teams, they're doing a great job of capitalizing on other teams' mistakes and forcing turnovers. And that gives the offense short fields. It seems like every turnover we've gotten has been, on their side of the field so far this year and set the offense up with some short fields. It's absolutely huge.
Well, and then looking at another stat I know that you really like to look at, your ball club had 8 opportunities on third down and was 4 for 8. Improvement from last week. I think probably in your mind they should be at least 6 out of 8. But 4 for 8, 50%, that's an improvement upon week 1. Let's see what happens when we get to week 3.
Yeah, I think especially in the first half we did a really good job. We had to punt, in the first quarter. On third down, we missed Spindler on an out route and had to punt. And then, we missed a third down conversion. But we had like 3rd and goal at the 9 or 10. And that's kind of, where it goes back to. Third down's important to us. But, on the one where we had to kick the field goal, when we have 3rd and goal at the 9 or 10 or whatever, that's tough to score from there. So, we got to do a better job on first and second down of putting ourselves in a good position for third down.
Well, and then looking at some of the individual stats here, Brady Allen was 13 for 18 for 302 yards and 3 touchdowns. Not quite Nintendo-esque, but, man, I tell you what, 13 for 18 is a phenomenal ball game right there. And you just mentioned one of the passes that he missed was on rolling left, and I didn't feel that time. In week 1 we talked about how he got his shoulders in the proper place, his hips in the proper place. It felt like he rushed that one to Mitchell. Otherwise, I think he would have hit him.
He did rush it. We motioned him out of the backfield, and nobody went with him. And I think he got –
he's like, holy cow, he's wide open.
He got a little excited there and tried to get rid of it too quick. But no, he had another great night. I know a couple of our receivers would like to have a couple of those back too. But going 13 of 18, in the first half is excellent, very efficient, and he's obviously be Captain Obvious here. He's playing really good football.
Well, and I know another one, as you mentioned, the receivers would like to have one back. I know there's one Seth DeLong would like to have back. If he could have just got his hands in a different position originally, he's going to come up with that ball 9 out of 10 times and possibly even 10 out of 10. And just that one time, it just wasn't quite in the cards for him to come up with it.
Yeah, he got a little caught in between on, catching it underneath and going over the top. And he's not going to miss too many as the season goes on. So we'll let him get away with that one.
He'll just have to have one extra lap, this week. But rushing stat-wise, Mitchell Spindler, 14 carries for 79 yards and 3 touchdowns. Owen Bryant had 8 carries for 55 yards. Ben Luttrell had 3 carries for 7 yards. Brady Allen was 2 carries for 5 yards. Nathan Bowes had 4 carries for 5 yards. And Connor Mormon, number 74, Connor Mormon, got in the ball game there at the end, and they just were sending the kitchen sink, and he ended up with 1 carry for a negative 6 yards. But Mitchell Spindler, I thought last night as I was thinking back about that game, and I probably should have mentioned it in game, but I didn't. Hitting the holes hard. He did that Friday night.
Yeah, I thought he looked great. I thought our offensive line did a wonderful job, and with him coming back from that injury and having limited reps in the preseason, I think he's just going to continue to get better and better every week.
So looking at the receiving stats, Seth DeLong had 3 receptions for 118 yards and a touchdown. Logan Murphin had 4 receptions for 101 yards and a touchdown. Adam May had 3 receptions for 41 yards and a touchdown. Caleb Sellers, 1 huge catch for 26 yards. That was outstanding. Caden Hurtless got another reception for 17 yards. And then Mitchell Spindler had the 1 reception for a negative 1 yard. But, it's been who's going to step up. Here we'll talk about it pregame, Jason and I will. Who's going to step up this week for the offense? Well, first week, Seth DeLong was the man. Now, Seth still did his part again on Friday night, but Logan Murphin really coming out of nowhere from week 1 to week 2, and he showed that, hey, I can make those plays too.
Yeah, Logan does a great job, and I think when he gets the ball in space, he's another one of those really dynamic guys that can go make plays whenever he has the ball in his hands. So, he's playing great football, and I think that's a great thing about our offense right now. We got a lot of different guys, and it's not really a game plan thing. It's just kind of, how the defense is playing, who the rock goes to, and, we're comfortable with all those guys out there to go make plays.
All right, and one stat I usually don't bring in, but I'm going to today. Talking about the kicking game, Jake Novotny, 6 for 6 on extra points. Then you add in, I believe it was a 27-yard field goal. And then Jacob Spindler comes in the second half and also nails through a beautiful-looking 27-yard field goal. But Jake Novotny's just been money this entire season so far.
Yeah, he has. And I thought his kickoffs on Friday were just phenomenal. He was putting them right where we want them placed. And that allows the coverage unit to do their job. But Jake's doing a great job for us.
Well, and then looking at the stats on the defensive side, talking about team football being a team game, nobody here just really runs away. A lot of times in some defenses, that middle linebacker is going to have all the tackles because everybody else is doing the job around them. But in this case here, I'm going to go through the list. Colton Stefanich had 6 solo tackles. He also had an interception. Max Beatles had 5 solo tackles. Carter Green was in on 6 tackles. He had 3 solo and 3 assists. Caleb Sellers was in on 4, 2 solo, 2 assists. McCray Robinson was also in on 4, 2 solo, 2 assists, and a tackle for loss. Sterling Stalker was in on 4 tackles, 2 solo, and 2 assists. And the name that sticks out from Friday night for me, McCray Robinson. Mm-hmm. I mean, it seemed like he's listed here to be in on 4 tackles, but it seemed like he was always Johnny on the spot in this one drive. He was just decapitating people.
Yeah, he did a great job of getting after the passer, I thought, the entire night. And, I thought as a team, we got after the passer really well. And, something we didn't really get to see week one, but we got to see this week. I was very pleased with our pass defense. We had several pass breakups. I thought we did a good job up front of getting after the passer and forcing them to throw the ball away some. So I was very pleased, in a part of our game that didn't really get tested week one, for week two. I thought we did a great job.
All right, so, Coach, let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, we will get your overall thoughts from Game 2 concerning the offense, defense, and special teams. But right now, we need to thank the folks that make the Nick Hart Show possible on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Pro Rehab, Pole Concrete Construction, MyTech Systems, Mayflower Gardens and Gifts, Make Your Mark, Lewis Plumbing and Heating, Kissel Farms Incorporated, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, Kathy Solman Photography, Julia's School of Dance, Johnson Commercial Mowing, and in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis. The Diesel Equipment Technology program at Wabash Valley College will train students to become successful diesel equipment technicians. Students will spend equal time in the lab and classroom while learning theory and operation of diesel equipment. Students will also complete an internship during their 2-year degree program. For more information about the Diesel Equipment Technology program, call WVC today at 618-262-8641 or visit www.iecc.edu/WVC.
Thank you for listening to 89.1 The Bash and the Nick Hart Show. All right, Coach, let's start first off with your thoughts on offense from week 2 against South Spencer.
Well, I think we can continue to play really well on that side of the ball. What I like is early in the season, I think we're playing really clean. You talked about no turnovers. We only have 1 pre-snap penalty in 2 games. So I think, a lot of those things seem to happen early in the year, and then you kind of clean it up as you go. But I think we're playing really clean on that side of the ball right now. And we're playing really good football without one of our best offensive football players, Ben Butler, who should be back this week. So, you kind of add him into that mix of the playmakers and everything. And I think, we're going to be able to take it to even another level. But, no, I think it's been very, very good. We've run the ball well. We've thrown the ball well. Very pleased with the way we're playing on that side.
Well, and I know offensively, when Mitchell touches it, it can go to the house at any time. Seth DeLong showed us the other night. He can take it 89 yards, and no one can even catch up to him. So he's got that type of speed. And I know that Murphin and Adam May, I know those 2 guys can also run very, very well. But like you said, we haven't even seen Ben Butler yet, and knowing what we know about Ben, once he touches it, if you're not touching him, he gone.
Yep. He's extremely dynamic, and we're really excited to kind of get him back in the flow of things.
Well, now let's go over to the defensive side of the football, where you got to see a little bit of different stuff coming offensively from South Spencer than what you saw in week 1 with Forest Park. And the defense, I tell you, they can run, which is a great asset to have. But number 2, they were very, very physical Friday night.
They were. And the thing I really like about our defense right now is, I think there's been years where we don't have a great football IQ on defense or where we want it to be. And you kind of have to – you always want to play fast and physical. So you keep it as simple as you can so they know what they're doing and you can turn them loose and let them go play fast. We're doing quite a bit of stuff right now. We got some stunts. We ran several stunts on Friday night, mixed up coverages, and we didn't miss a beat. And that's, something that I really like about our defense right now is they're kind of letting our staff, mix things up and get creative in what they do, but understanding what they do so they can still play fast and physical, and we give teams different looks.
Well, let's go to the special teams because I want to carry the theme over of defense into the special teams. That kickoff team has done a phenomenal job every time, and you guys kick off quite a bit. So they've been phenomenal. And really, play number 1 of the night, fumble, Your offense has the football. They score on first play. 9 seconds into the game, you've got points up on the board. But the way they were hitting, I know that the running back for South Spencer, from the very first contact of the ball game, because he was the one returning that kickoff and just got leveled. And he got leveled at least 2 or 3 other times to the point where they took him out and gave him a little break from that. And then they also flip-flopped who was receiving the football. That gets into your head when you start feeling it. So that kickoff team, they deserve some kudos this week.
Oh, for sure. Jake does a great job. He starts it out, and then, man, they fly down there. I mean, it's violent before they get to the ball carrier. It's really an impressive unit right now. They get to the football so well. Like on that first fumble, I do the defensive stats, on the weekend, and I couldn't even tell who recovered the fumble because there were so many maroon jerseys in there. We kind of had to text guys and figure out who actually, came up with the football. So they're doing a great job. We punted for the first time the other night and executed that really well as far as snap, protection, kick, coverage. EP team's doing great. The good news is we haven't got much work at kickoff return. That means your defense is playing well if you're doing that. But I think our special teams. I think I told you on Friday night. I thought they were the most impressive unit on the night. And you're talking about a team that was up 45-0 at halftime. So your offense is playing well, your defense is playing well, and I thought the special teams was probably the best unit that we had on Friday.
Well, and at some point throughout this season, all 3 teams have to step up at the same time. You're going to be playing a Southport team. The Southridge team's coming through. Heritage Hills will be coming up. And really any team on your schedule the rest of the way, but those bigger teams that you expect, you need all three parts of it to be clicking, because otherwise, if one part falters, that can bring down a ball game.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes all 3, and as you alluded to, even starting this week, our schedule is going to start getting a lot tougher here as we go through the middle part of the schedule. So all 3 phases, have to continue to play well and continue to improve.
All right, well, Coach, we need to thank some of the supporters of the Nick Hart Show, and when we come back, we will take a look around the Pocket Athletic Conference to wrap up week number 2 of the 2019 season and get prepared for week number 3. As you are listening to the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash.
Touchdown! The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Progressive Health Rehabilitation and Orthopedic Associates, Roberts Boring, Trenching, and Excavating, LLC, Sandy's Pizza, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, South Gibson Grain, 10 Barge Seed, Trapping and Removal of Animal Pest, Titan Youth Football League, United Fidelity Bank, and by Ziliak Enterprises.
Whether you want to be home every night or travel the open road, truck driving is a career that can do that for you. The Commercial Truck Driving Certificate at Wabash Valley College allows individuals to become proficient in the operation of trucks and semi-trailers. This stepping stone allows you to test for the Illinois CDL and DOT certification. For more information, contact Wabash Valley College today at 618-262-8641 or visit iecc.edu/WVC.
Back to the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash. I am Bob Bowser, and joining me is head coach of the Titans, Nick Hart. So, Coach, let's talk the Pocket Athletic Conference. First off, looking from our scores this past Friday night, Forest Park gets a W, 30-20 over Perry Central.
That's a huge win for them. I think sometimes when you get beat bad week 1, it's really tough to bounce back, and so they bounce back and get a big win.
Well, and another key I seen on Twitter and actually on the television, because we got home early enough on Friday night, I was able to watch the news. They have a girl that's their place kicker, and she made 3 field goals.
Wow.
So obviously the difference there is 10 points. Those 3 field goals was 9 points. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, yep, that's awesome.
They needed all those points in order to come away with that 10-point victory. Of course, your Titans defeated South Spencer 48-7. Heritage Hills defeated Tell City 42-6. So that kind of shows Heritage Hills can put points up on the board.
Yeah, for sure. And not a surprise. They got a lot of guys back from a very, very good football team and are going to be a very tough opponent down the road.
Well, and then in a PAC Big 8 matchup, which next year will just be straight PAC matchups, Mount Vernon defeated North Posey in the Battle of Posey County for 56-24. So Mount Vernon got the W there, 56-24. So, boy, Mount Vernon put some points up on the board there.
Yeah, they did. I thought that they looked really good, and which kind of shows how good Heritage Hills' defense is, because they shut them out the week before. And I know we'll talk more about North Posey later, but I think a big thing in that game, just watching the film, is North Posey caught the turnover bug that game. I would have liked them to wait one more week to catch it, but that was kind of a big swing in things. The game was pretty even, and North Posey started turning the ball over a little bit and gave Mount Vernon some short fields and some opportunities to kind of pull away.
Well, and then in another PAC Big 8 contest, which will no longer be happening, Southridge 21, Jasper 17. Ouch. That's pretty good for Southridge. Good for them.
That's great. I mean, that's two really good wins for Southridge, back-to-back, beating Linton, beating Jasper, going through that tough non-conference schedule. 2-0 is really impressive, and, it just kind of shows the strength of their program. They lost a lot of guys to graduation, lost a quarterback, and they've bounced back and beat two great programs in back-to-back weeks to start off the season.
Well, and then the final game involving Pocket Athletic Conference, Tecumseh defeat Pike Central 39-6. So kind of a tough week for Pike Central.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But, we kind of talked last week. They got a new coach, and I think they're just going to continue to get better as the year goes on.
All right, so looking at the standings now for the PAC, your Titans stand atop 2-0 in the conference, 2-0 overall. Heritage Hills is 1-0 in conference play, 2-0 overall. North Posey is 1-0 in conference play, 1-1 overall. Southridge hasn't played a conference game, but they're 2-0 overall. Pike Central hasn't played a conference game, but they are 0-2 overall. Forest Park is 0-1 in the conference, 1-1 overall. Tell City is 0-1 in the PAC, 1-1 overall. And South Spencer is 0-2 in conference play, 0-2 overall. So looking ahead to this coming Friday night, the first Friday in September, it'll be an all-conference affair this week. Forest Park at South Ridge. South Ridge is rolling.
They are rolling. Two great wins to start off the year, and like we said, it just kind of shows the type of program that they are.
And, of course, we'll later talk about the Gibson Southern at North Posey at 7 p.m. Pike Central is at Heritage Hills. Again, another ball club that's rolling early on, Heritage Hills.
Rolling, and, I think Pike Central is still trying to find itself a little bit. So, Heritage Hills, just continues to roll along.
And then Tell City at South Spencer. This could be an interesting ballgame. I'm interested to see how Tell City progresses. They got a thumping against Heritage Hills, but they won their week one opener. So how are they going to come back after taking on Heritage Hills to take on this South Spencer ball club, which has now run through a buzzsaw, I believe, in the first 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think that'll be a very interesting game. And, I think South Spencer, is hungry for that first win. And like you said, it'll be interesting to see how Tell City bounces back after the Heritage Hills loss.
All right, Coach, so one more segment to go here, which means that it's time to get the listeners ready for Friday night as your team prepares to take on North Posey in a Pocket Athletic Conference matchup. But first, let's thank some of the underwriters of the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by Hilliard Lyons and Matt Monroe, Hydorn Construction, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hobb Range Hood Company, Gerald and Trudy Bledsoe, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Duke Energy, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Daylight Land Management, Cox Family Eye Care PC, Chips, Sell My Tees, Brett's Car Care, and Matt Michael of Agrigold.
Are you considering getting a degree from a 4-year university? Well, did you know that by spending your first 2 years at a community college, you can not only receive a high-quality education with a transferable degree, but you can also save thousands on tuition? Illinois Eastern Community Colleges offers an exceptional value of education for transfer students. You can give us a call at 866-529 888-4322 or visit our website online at iecc.edu.
Welcome back to the Nick Hart Show right here on 89.1 The Bash, or you may be using the free app to access the show on your cell phone. So, Coach, week number 3. Your Titans will be traveling to North Posey for a third conference game in a row, and we will have all the action live on 89.1 The Bash with pregame at 6:45 p.m. North Posey will enter this contest with a record of 1-1 overall and 1-0 in conference play. So what do you expect to see from the Vikings on offense?
A lot of stuff. They are a formation team, a lot of different formations. You got to make sure you line up correctly. They shift, they motion, and I think one of the things I've always thought Waylon has done very well with his offense is he's always got a counter, a play action off of what he does. So, you can say like, hey, when they get in this set, they like to run buck sweep. Okay, but he's got a play action off of that or a halfback pass off of that, some type of counter off of it. I think he does a very good job of kind of, out of those formations, packaging their plays to have an answer for however you're defending them. But I think one of the biggest things this week is, they get in overloads and shift to overloads and stuff. So you have to be very good on defense about identifying who's eligible, who's covered up, where the strength of the formation is, all those type of things. And a lot of times you don't have a lot of time to decipher that, if it's off of a shift or a motion or whatever. I think a big part of the battle this week is for us mentally is pre-snap. And then if we get lined up right, then go play football. But like we talked about earlier, knowing what you do so you can play fast and physical. I think that's kind of one thing that their offense, makes you do is think. And so we got to have a great week of practice to make sure that doesn't slow us down.
Well, and things that I remember from Coach Shank, even when he was at Princeton and now, of course, over at North Posey, you've got to be ready for those trick plays. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you know what? When you're a player and every week they start throwing something in there, a little wrinkle, a little fun time, some razzle-dazzle trick play, that keeps things exciting. It's like the Love Boat, something exciting and new. But the thing is, you've got to try to figure out, well, what might they throw at us this week? Yeah,
for sure. They've always done a great job with their trick plays. Good job with misdirection, and we talked about all the shifts and stuff. It's a very difficult offense to prepare for.
So let's go over to the other side. How do you expect them on defense to try and slow your ball club down?
They're a 4-3 team. A lot of quarters. Play loose and try and keep people in front of them and kind of make you drive the ball down the field. They don't do a lot defensively. But, I think, again, kind of going back to what we've talked about, it's a little bit like the Tony Dungy philosophy. You line up, you know what you're doing, and that allows you to play fast and stuff. So, I think that they are doing a good job on that side of the ball. And they held South Spencer to 13 points, and they have a new defensive coordinator and, something where I think they're better on that side of the ball, and I think they'll continue to improve.
All right, so let's go to special teams now. What have you seen on film about their punter, their punt return teams, kickoff return, extra points?
Return teams are very good. I think their running back is a very dynamic player, and he does the returns for them. And then their kicker is phenomenal. He routinely puts the ball in the end zone. I think he hit a 44-yarder the other night against Mount Vernon. He's got a very strong leg. I mean, in the first game, they even now he didn't get it there, but they trotted him out for a 55-yarder, to give it a go. So he's got a very strong leg and is very effective.
All right. So anything else this week that you would like to add on the show?
Yeah, great week for our lower levels. Our JV team beat Evansville North. Our freshman team played a freshman and sophomore team from Evansville Memorial, and we were kind of banged up going into the game and got more banged up in the game. And our kids did a great job of competing, and we lost by 4. And then our 7th and 8th grade swept Mount Vernon.
So big week for the lower levels. It just keeps on rolling.
Yeah, it was a great week, and it's fun to watch those guys get to go out and compete.
All right, Coach. Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. So, Coach, good luck Friday night. We'll see you after the game on the post-game show, and best of luck to the players. We would like to thank all of you for joining us here on 89.1 The Bash for the Nick Hart Show, and be sure to catch us each week at 7 p.m. on Tuesday night for your look inside Gibson Southern Titans football. Before we sign off, though, we would like to thank all of the supporters of the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash.
The Nick Hart Show has been brought to you by Ziliak Enterprises, United Fidelity Bank, Titan Youth Football League, Trapping and Removal of Animal Pest, Tin Barge Seed, South Gibson Grain, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Scheller's Carriage Inn, Sandy's Pizza, Roberts Boring, Trenching and Excavating LLC, Progressive Health Rehabilitation and Orthopedic Associates, by Pro Rehab, Pole Concrete Construction, MyTech Systems, Mayflower Gardens and Gifts, Make Your Mark, Lewis Plumbing and Heating, Kissel Farms Incorporated, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, Kathy Solman Photography, Julia's School of Dance, Johnson Commercial Mowing, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, Hilliard Lyons, Matt Monroe, Hydorn Construction, Hobstadt Summerfest, Hobb Range Hood Company, Gerald and Trudy Bledsoe, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Duke Energy, Du Bois County Garage Doors Incorporated, Daylight Land Management, Cox Family Eye Care PC, Chips Sell My Teas, Brett's Car Care, and Matt Michael of AgriGold. The Nick Hart Show is a special production of 89.1 The Bash and the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department.